Clean water is really at the core of our civilization. Putting water in pipes is regarded as the third major component of the Industrial Revolution. When the piping systems were invented, it carried water to the houses and carried the sewage away from the houses. Civilization took a major growth in productivity. My name is Scott McGilvray. I live in the Live Oak district of Santa Cruz. I've had a lot of experience with water. I was a landscape contractor for 30 years. Governor Duke Majan appointed me to a task force that drew up the first water conservation and landscape legislation. So I've been watching, observing, and participating in overall water policy in the state for almost 25 years. When I looked into the Santa Cruz situation, I discovered water shortages of varying durations. The solution, according to the Water Commission, is to build a $130 million desalination plant. A desalination plant which takes seawater and turns it into fresh water. That requires reverse osmosis. There is nothing more energy intensive regarding water than trying to turn salt water into fresh water. The desalination plants function well and they're justified in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, places where there is no water. We live in a redwood rainforest here. The Santa Cruz area is a redwood rainforest. The demand for water in Santa Cruz was 4 billion gallons a year 10 or 12 years ago. It hasn't been over 3 billion gallons a year in the last 3. At the same time, the cost of providing a desalination plant has been increasing. I think this is a very poorly run project. The demand has declined 25% and the desal plant cost has tripled. I think there are other alternatives that add up to significant water. And I'm going to go through this community and see if I can find the people who have them and share them with you when I get it. Rick Longinati is the co-founder of Santa Cruz Desal Alternatives.
Santa Cruz Desal Alternatives is devoted to the idea that this proposed desalination project has such serious consequences that people need to be informed about what the alternatives to desalination might be.
The IWP said the Water Department will actively consider new ideas as they arise and will continue to encourage public involvement in this area. But the city doesn't seem very open to this.
We decided to put a measure on the ballot that would give the voters the right to decide as to whether we proceed on desalination.
That entailed nearly a 4-month community organizing project to gather approximately 5,000 certified signatures. And we learned a lot about the sentiment of the community.
People want the city to look into alternatives. 72% of the voters in Santa Cruz voted in favor of giving themselves the power to decide whether to build a desalination plant.
Bill Coker is the Water Department Director for the City of Santa Cruz.
In a drought condition, we have a system that is woefully inadequate of meeting needs. In a single dry year, not terribly bad. In multiple dry years, could be as bad as 45% short, which means that as a system, we'll have to reduce our use from what it is now by another 45%.
That number, 45% curtailment, which is very serious, is based on the idea that we're draining the lake every year down to 64%. The winter of 2011-2012, we had a dry winter. The reservoir at the end of the dry season was at 90%. Right now, April 2013, the reservoir is full. Come October 1st, after the dry season, we'd like to be somewhere around 80, 85, 90%. That amount of water, between 64% and 80%, is the amount of water that a desalination plant would put out.
Peter Haas is the principal of Fall Creek Engineering, a Santa Cruz-based firm that designs and evaluates water recycling projects all over the world.
Reality of it is we've got this amazing collection system for collecting sewage.
We basically look at the sewer as a source of water, really high quality water, water that's got a salt content of about 1,000 parts per million as opposed to 30,000 parts per million for salt water. The Monterey Regional Water Pollution Control Agency has one of the most prestigious water recycling plants in the world.
The facility produces 4.5 billion gallons of recycled water each year to supply farms throughout the Salinas Valley.
I'm the general manager of Salinas Farms. My name is Dale Hutt. We're just outside of Salinas in a small town called Castroville. What's driving the trend of growers moving to using recycled water as an irrigation source is need. Our recycled water is actually better from an agronomic standpoint than what the well water was before in much of the project. Of course, all potentially new water sources were considered. Everything from desal, which was very, very expensive, to the use of recycled water. We're very proud of the fact that we're the largest users of recycled water in the world. Our water, from a food safety standpoint, is, I'm going to say, one of the safest water sources in the world. It is checked regularly at the treatment plant.
If we're going to produce recycled water and make it meaningful to the debate we're having right now about desal, that recycled water needs to be really recharging streams as a concept of stream augmentation and groundwater recharge.
Groundwater levels in the Scotts Valley area and in the Santa Margarita Aquifer have declined almost 200 feet. There's an awful lot of storage there. The good news is that storage could be used to put water in and essentially do in lieu recharge, where Scotts Valley, say, uses water from the city of Santa Cruz during a portion of the year and doesn't pump the aquifer. Then the levels in that aquifer can start to recover.
Jan Bentley was the manager of the Santa Cruz City Water Treatment Facility at Graham Hill Road. He worked for the water department for 14 years, retiring in 2008.
John Ricker's work is very positive for the northern Santa Cruz County area. What he's trying to do is actually restore the watersheds, and by restoring the Santa Margarita Aquifer, he's restoring the underflow to the various streams that flow out of that area, Bean Creek, Carbonero Creek. Those streams are tributary to the San Lorenzo River. The Santa Margarita Aquifer seems to be very amenable to recharge. It would also allow banking of that water in that aquifer so that other agencies like Santa Cruz could retrieve it when they needed it.
I've been captivated by water all my life. I love streams, ocean waves, I even love sprinkler systems. And I've spent the last 2.5 years to understand why Santa Cruz has chosen the desalination option. And I just cannot find a rational answer. If any of these three alternative supplies have merit, whether it's better management of Loch Lomond, recycled water, or water transfers, then we have no need to spend $130 million for a desalination plant. This is where our water supply runs into the ocean. And in the 50 years I've been around here, Santa Cruz has managed to hang on to this land and keep it open space. And that's a remarkable achievement. This is part of our heritage. And we can find a way to live within our means and sustain our lifestyles with the water that's our water that falls in our watersheds. And if we can do that, if we can pass on to our children and grandchildren a water supply and demand relationship that works, is self-sustaining, and energy conserving, we will have really done something of value.